Um, but I think that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't mind it being exotic as long when the when it's exotic, they're straight, they're functional, they have good backs, good back line, good feet. They have stifles. They're not stiff stifles. They're not cowhawk. They're not overbite, underbite. So two I can give you, but when it starts to get into fourth, I can't give you high rear at all. If you got high rear, you shouldn't be breeding. And I can't give you curve back or roast back. If you got that, you shouldn't be breeding. Um, I can even deal with easty westy feet. But it's when you put all these things together, these are not breed stock no more, and these are the dogs that I'm seeing at the dog show. And I don't get how this is happening. Um, but what I'm trying to make is a bullier, wider pit bull with more muscle, um, that's functional, that's a dog. Uh, but when you go, and the reason is I started this, I went to look to get a bully for myself, and every time I would go to get a bully, I would keep running up on these little small dogs that wasn't functional. Thanks. And every time I would ask the breeder, I'm trying to get this, and that. He said, well, you can't sell them type of dogs. I said, well, that's not the dogs that y'all promote. That's not the dogs that y'all are letting be available. How are you going to sell those dogs if you not if those ain't available? If those not the ones you promoting, how do people know that that's what they need? So that's why when I started to breed dogs, I also knew I had to start this YouTube and Instagram and social media in order to be able to let people know what we're looking for, what a straight dog is. So I just don't know what to say. So I'm looking at some of these dogs. They walking on and they walking on their forearm. They don't. Their paws ain't even out. They walking on their forearms curled up. They walking like this. That's what I'm saying. Whoever community this is, if it's the American Bully community, I'm saying it. If it's the exotic community by itself, I breed exotics too. So I'm saying it again. We got to be responsible with what we breeding. And the king tail, maybe, but it's just when you start doubling up, king tail to king tail, king tail to no tail, then what do you expect to come out of this? So that's all I say. Maybe the exotic bully already is its own breed because it's taking on a life of its own. I can't sell a standard for $100,000, and nor would I want to. That's a lot of responsibility. I mean, this dog would have to be able to climb a wall, as far as I'm concerned, to be a standard. You get $100,000 for it. Because King Creed is the best looking standard I ever seen. If you don't think so, bring something against it. I ain't never seen nothing better than it. So, and I was able to get King Creed for a little nothing because at the time they trying to make little dwarf Merles. They wasn't trying to make no King Creeds. So I got King Creed cheap. I got uh, Black Widow cheap. I mean, it's just Black Widow is the granddaughter of Gotti, one of the most famous bullies of all time, and I got her for a very good price, very cheap, because people were so concerned about making dwarfism happen. That's not something that you're supposed to be doubling up on. So maybe when you breed Merles, we can't breed two Merles together because of the things that it can happen. It could cause blindness, death, and stuff. So you breed Merle to something that ain't Merle. Maybe that's what we got to start doing with these exotics. If you got one small one, it's okay to breed it to another small pocket, but not something else that's dwarfism. MJ Bullies, what's going on? Maybe we have to start looking at um, breeding exotics the same way we breed merles, the same way we breed pink. You can't breed two pinks together that's both showing. You gotta have a carrier, and you can't. It's the same with merles. So maybe we should start thinking about this with nanos because something is going on where these dogs are starting to be too. They don't have no. Their backs is totally swayed now. You know, and they curl up on their feet. And these the dogs is at the show. These dogs are not supposed to be breed stock. So I'm not saying. So I'm just asking. Maybe if the exotic bully was its own breed, maybe it could be policed. Maybe it could get its own registry, and then maybe the registry could set standards and say this is what an exotic bully is, and it has to be followed. Because right now, exotic bully being under ABKC, or I don't even think the ABKC will allow it, but BRC and all this, it's still not being recognized by the American bully community because you can't get exotic bully on the papers. So with people like the BRC registry, I think it says that. But I mean, I'm double registered with King Creed on BRC too. So I'm saying maybe if the exotic bully was his own separate breed, maybe it could get its own registry, and they could set standards and say this is how it's got to be, and it will quit being so deformed and messed up. Because what's happening is the veterinarians is not wanting to deal with us because of what these irresponsible people are doing with the breeding. As they've taken those people's, you know, work the way as a picture of this whole breed, and it's not the whole breed. It's a total. The way you breed pocket classic standard is different because they're at a size they can breed. The way you breed the exotic and everything is a smaller dog style of breeding. I be Comfort joined. Said Di Kentucky joined. What's going on, y'all? So I'm saying maybe if it was his own separate breed, it would be able to be policed better, so that you see what I'm saying. The people that are policing the American bully breed can't police the exotic bully breed because they're not recognizing it. They only recognizing pocket, classic, standard, XL. So they can't say, well, you're doing wrong because this should be this, because they don't have no standards for what exotic is because they don't recognize exotic. So maybe if exotic was its own separate breed, it could get its own separate registry, and then we could have a standard of what should be upheld and what people would know what breed stock is. But I'm telling you right now, it's not supposed to be two, three things wrong with the dog and then you use it as breed stock. That's not what's supposed to happen. I don't know what he said, bronchophiliac. I don't know what that is. Bronchophiliatic. What is that? Lotto bully. Explain that to us. You trying to give us some kind of education. Shock of the American bully joint. But if we're going to stay as a whole community, then it's got to act as a whole community. And it's got to be upheld to the whole community standards, period. Period. So we got to be pushing these registries to recognize as they can't be called our registries. We can't support them if they're not supporting our breed because this is getting, they're going to start doing stuff. This stuff is starting to affect how much veterinary help we get already because they think we all doing this crazy stuff. Well, I'm trying to ship King Creed. to somebody. I'm trying to ship a real dog semen to somebody, but they think I'm doing some silly with some little bitty dog with deformity. I'm not, and I got to go through a whole bunch of loops to find the right person to get this process done in a time frame to get the semen there in the right time. So I'm just saying it's affecting business, man. We all going to end up selling dogs for $2,000 again if we don't police this thing and get it together. It's people, and another thing is, it's people that's coming in to buy a $40,000 dog, $20,000 dog to do something exotic. Where did they get that money? A lot of times, this is not a it's a bad element coming into the situation anyway. Then people ain't in it for the love of the dog anyway. They was in it for the love of the money. So it's a gateway for all of that, man. I mean, people need to start looking at what a good dog is before you look at, what color it is, how small it is. Yeah, it's small, but can it move? I mean, do you have to put it in the wagon for the how long a life will it have? Will thing last 4 or 5 years? Because this stuff is so. If we don't give the breed its own registry, we have to police it as a whole ourselves. And as ourselves, we have to know that. A lot of means they have to short palate throat and closed narrows, making it nearly impossible to breathe properly. And that's, I mean, I'm trying not to, Lotto Bully ain't trip. He just say what he was. I'm trying to be, because we're all in this community. I'm not knocking anybody's hustle. I like, I would love to have a King Creed that was this big. You know what I'm saying? If we could breed it down, and then we could call it the bullet. Okay, cool. But not if it means that he can't live 10 years, and not if it means that his leg is pushed in, and not if it means he can't breathe, not if it means he got heart murmur, not if it means he got spinal problem, not none of that. See what I'm saying? I'm not willing to risk none of that. One dog bully said, "Bro, these abominations they start breaking off now, having their own registry. They already have their own registries. What I'm saying, I went to the BRC show down here in Stillwater. Creed is under ABKC. I wanted to go to the show. They gave me papers on the spot. We was in the BRC, and I won the show. I mean, they already have registries for just exotic. That's what I'm saying. But them registries ain't policing nothing. They don't have anything to set it, the standard with. And then the American Bully registries don't recognize exotic, so they not putting any standard for it. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's already done. It's already its own monster. I know that. It's his own beast. It's his own thing. It's his own trend. It's just that. I don't know. But we gotta do something to make the dogs stay correct, man. We can't be pushing these off to people that want this, that will pay $40,000, and then you giving them something that you know is not a good product. That's not going to help us all survive. It's not You're not going to be able to build nothing for your family. I 100 agree. I just mean I see a lot of these Rocky dogs in the vet that aren't bred properly with a lot of health concerns. Period. I know a lot of vets. I'm telling you, the American Bully, as a just as a genetically wise, has a patent system that's really good. It can be used good. But when you combine that patent system with a bad muzzle system, I think it just causes extra mucus and stuff, and that's where you start to having problems. That's what I think. It starts to getting moisture up in there, and that's where they have the problems. I got I got standard bully, pocket bully, um, exotic bully, and another pocket bully puppy. The first exotic bully that I got, she always has the she barks the most, but every once in a while she gonna get a cough. She can't eat as fast as others. She'll get stuff caught up in it. It's just different things, man. Now every exotic that I've ever had on my yard, I can throw the ball and they take off running, just as fast as any other dog out here. So that's what I'm saying. It can be done, and it can be genetically done, but you can't get it doubling up on flaws. Rodriguez Bullaz, what's going on? How can you get it doubling up on flaws is what I'm saying. You can't get it doubling up on flaws. And man, if you got a dog with his back do like this, that's not a breed stock no more. Now I don't care if it's chocolate, merle, piebald, try. It's not breed stock no more. If his back do this, it ain't breed stock no more. If he got high rear, by the time we in this thing as breeders, you don't come along a few years into this. There's no way you should still have high rears in your program. That's something you should have weeded out. You shouldn't even be buying that. You should know how to pick a dog by now. So there's no way we shouldn't have high rears and messed up backs in our programs no more. I got dogs out here that's questionable now. I got a dog that was supposed to be a micro, and she had a couple flaws, and I was willing to deal with the kink tail. She was gonna be micro, but now she about 14 inches. She about big as she's bigger than my other pocket females. She really is not micro at all. So now I got to make a decision. Am I willing to breed her with these flaws in her at this size? I don't really think I'm just. It's not something I can do. I'm gonna end up having to pet home this dog because I don't want to sell it to somebody else because they definitely is gonna breed her because she is nice. If you didn't know no better, you say it's a perfect dog, but I know flaws. But as an exotic, as a micro, I was willing to go with a couple things, but in the classes, I can't go with it. So there you go right there. And then these colors, these pinks, these merles, and all this stuff, once that came into play, it started to making it where these colors is overshadowing flaws. They're covering up flaws. And I'm seeing dudes. They send me the picture of the mama sitting down. If you ever see the mama standing up, they rear all up in there like that. But they merle, so bam, automatic money. They automatic selling higher than the my dog that's structurally perfect to run you down and run your dog under the porch. And they selling it because of the color. What I found is I go for structure. When I get to the litter where the structure's at, it's some color there too. Because color is a good trait. I don't go looking for color. I go look for confirmation. So anyway, that's my spill, man. But I just think we need to police ourselves. If we're going to keep this, okay, we got you got the goddess exotic bully John. What's going on? You missing most of the conversation. I'm trying to wrap it up. It just keep going though. I'm trying to wrap it up, but I just want us to be responsible breeders because nobody is responsible at this point. That's another thing I'm trying to get across with it. If I'm wrong, let me know I'm wrong, okay? Because I deal with the registries. The ABKC ain't telling the exotics how to be exotic because they don't recognize the class. It's not a class. Pocket, classic, standard, and Excel is the class. So they're not telling them how this should look. And then the smaller registries, the BRC, I can't think a couple more that just do exotics, are not defining it either because they got an agenda going on. So it's not being regulated. So I'm only asking the question to see if maybe if it is its own breed, it could get its own registry that would regulate it and tell it this is what it should look like. This is what's the standard. This is not standard. Because in XL they have it where XL you can kind of have a slight high rear. I don't know if that's the XL or the XXL. I think it's the XL I'm talking about. But stuff like that you can be outlined in your registry. But stuff where the dog's crawling on the elbows, no man. Stuff where their back is all bent in, no man. I'm just not liking the hip problems I'm seeing right now. It's not right, man. We can't do that. XL, yeah. They can have a slight high rear in the definitions in the registry. It says you can have a slight high rear, but we know this. It needs to be defined for the exotics too. That's all I'm saying. So, however that gets done, it needs to be done. But until it's done, we have to police that. All right, man. We out, man. Get you some hard cut. It's on.